today. So like I said, in a couple minutes, I'll turn it over to Amanda from UVM at around 25 past. She will take any questions that anybody has. And then we'll go right into St. Michael's College, Meg Seeley from St. Michael's College. And then she will take questions around 10 of 2, and then we'll just have some follow-up closing things. So like before, copies of the presentations will be sent to everybody who attended and the people who weren't able to attend but registered. And the webinar recording will be up on our DHR website, and I'll send a link to that too. Also, if you look in your control panels for GoToWebinar, you'll see some handouts. So there's handouts here for some of the things from Amanda's presentation, and there's some handouts from Meg's presentation at St. Michael's. So you can download those directly so you have them. The actual PowerPoint presentations, what I'll do is PDF them and send them to you. So those won't be in those handouts, but there's some peripheral information that's valuable that you can download from the handouts. Again, if you do have any questions, you can ask them anytime. We will take them at a certain time, but you can ask those questions anytime by using the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. And I'll keep an eye on that, and we will ask a couple, what we can get in, but I'll make sure that both the panelists and presenters get all the questions. If we can't do them during the webinar session, we can do them offline. So just to kind of recap the past webinars we've done, Johnston State, Champlain, Landmark, and VBSR. So those are some of the past ones. I'm sure a lot of you might have already attended those. And those are available at the Human Resources website. This is the link. Don't worry about having to type that all in. One of the handouts is this slide here so that you can download it. Just to click the link to go to those recorded webinars. Of course, today's will be uploaded on there shortly too. And then just a reminder, we have an upcoming one. We're going to have a couple of weeks break because of people's vacations and things like that. But on July 17th, and it's a Monday from 11 to 12, we're going to have Norwich University in Green Mountain College. So that's kind of the rundown and the schedule and things to keep an eye for. So I want to start off with just a quick poll, just to kind of get an idea of people's familiarity working with interns. So if you could just let me know if you've ever hired an intern here at the state. Right. So it looks like more than half of you have some familiarity with hiring an intern at the state. So hopefully after the series, like I had mentioned before, we'll have a much higher ratio of people who have worked with interns. I'm hoping this is going to spur a lot of conversations and awareness with the colleges to engage with them on their internship opportunities. So with that said, like I said, our first up is Amanda Chase from the University of Vermont. Amanda and I have been working together pretty much since I started here to try to find ways of how we can partner together here to raise awareness about internship opportunities at the University of Vermont. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Amanda. Amanda, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Hi.
Hi. So I'm going to give you a presentation. So you have the screen. You should get that in a second.
Let's see, is that coming up okay?
Yep, perfect.
Great. All right, excellent. Thanks, Bill. So my name is Amanda. Great. So I'm Amanda Chase, and I'm the internship coordinator at the University of Vermont, and I'm located within the Career Center at UVM, and that's kind of a centralized office that works with folks all throughout the university. And so I work with students from all of the different schools and all of the faculty and staff throughout. So I wanted to give a little bit of a background on the University of Vermont and the students who you may come across and who may be interested in working with you as interns. So just to start off and to give you some general information, UVM has over 150 majors spread throughout 7 undergraduate colleges. So we have nearly any discipline that you can think of. It ranges from folks in agriculture and life sciences. Our arts and sciences college is the largest, taking up about half of the population here at UVM. We have people in business, education, engineering, environment and natural resources, and also nursing and health sciences. So students from any of these colleges are seeking internships and looking for opportunities, and multiple colleges may be a match depending on what department you're coming from. UVM has a little bit over 10,000 undergrad students, and about 91% of students report that they did an internship or research or some sort of experience-based learning over the course of their 4 years in college, meaning that about 9,000 of our students were spread throughout the state, throughout the country, and beyond doing this kind of experiential work. So there are a lot of students who are interested in getting this kind of experience and who are excited to get involved with internship opportunities. Let's see here. Sorry. All right. So in terms of internships, I mentioned that students from all majors and all class years can participate in internships. It's useful for you all to know as internship supervisors that at UVM, interns can be both paid or unpaid. And that will often depend on the industry or the discipline area that the student is interning in. For instance, students in technology-focused internships or engineering or business tend to be paid just throughout the industry. Those internships are most often paid opportunities, whereas some other options within nonprofit or social service work may be less frequently paid. And so that's also up to your department and what you all decide to do throughout the state, whether that's a paid or unpaid opportunity. Some students decide to earn credit if it works with their graduation plan. Well, some students do not choose to earn that credit, and they may not need it or want it necessarily. It really does depend on the student's courses and whether they want to earn credit there. In order to earn credit, it's useful to know that a student has to be enrolled in a course at the same time that they're doing their internship. That's how UVM distributes that credit. Payment and credit are not connected to one another. So some students will earn both payment and credit, some neither, and some will earn a combination of the two. Our internships typically run on a semesterly schedule, although that really is up to you, the employer, and your needs. I will say that students typically start looking for an internship about 2 to 6 months before they plan to start that internship, and so that's a good time to be posting those opportunities. And our semesterly schedule runs January through May for our spring semester. Summer is May through August, about mid-August, and then mid-August through December for the fall semester. And just to show you, I have a few pictures here on the right. It looks like they got a little skewed there, but folks doing internships at Vermont Creamery, and then we also had a student in a lab. So in terms of resources for you all as hiring managers, I am one of the resources that you all have access to. So my full-time work is focused on internships, and I can provide resources and support around a bunch of different things. Some people will contact me and ask for support or information about legal issues. I'm not an attorney, but I can definitely provide some resources and point you in the right direction. I have some example materials on best practices, so things like establishing an orientation or trainings for interns or doing evaluations and thinking through how to make this a good learning experience for students and how to go through that experience, and also make sure that you and the intern have expectations that are aligned with each other. I can help get the word out about different positions that you may have within your department and help kind of bring about interest from students and let people know what those options are. I can also help connect you with events and info sessions here at UVM. We have a twice annual career fair, one in the fall and one in the spring, that usually attracts over 120 different employers and 800 students. We also have employers who will come in and do information sessions or other events, and students can come learn about opportunities at your department or organization. I can work with you to also do on-campus recruitment. We do have some folks who will come in, oftentimes after meeting students at our career fairs. They may meet some really talented students and want to interview them the following day. And we have interview rooms in our career center right on campus, and you can come in and we can help you organize that schedule and do some back-to-back interviewing if you have a group of people you want to meet with to evaluate for a position. We can also help provide resources on attracting and supporting a diverse pool of candidates and help you reach folks from historically marginalized backgrounds or international students. We have a relatively large population of students from all over the world who can bring in specialized skills and perspectives. Another resource for you all, if the student is earning credit, will be that student's faculty advisor. And that person will help coordinate things like a learning contract, that's goals that the student is intending to meet as a part of their internship, and also midterm and final evaluations. So that faculty advisor will help coordinate those pieces. So some general best practices for internships that I wanted to share, and this will be true for all schools who you learn about. Interns can't and shouldn't displace employees or do work that's solely menial. So for instance, you couldn't replace your front office admin assistant with an unpaid intern. This is just good to know in terms of the Department of Labor regulations. It also should be a good learning experience for the student. So something to keep in mind is that we usually have more internships available than we actually have students seeking internship opportunities. So it is a little bit of a supply and demand process in that selling a great internship is, a great learning opportunity to come in at our department and learn about these different aspects of working with the state. That will attract strong candidates to these positions, and making it a strong learning experience is important there too. The best projects are often your wish list projects, so things that that may not be mission critical, but are those items that you write down on your list of, when the summer comes or when we have more time, I'd love to get this done. Those are often great projects for an intern, particularly around research into other programs or other ideas that you might want to implement in your department. Those can be great internship options. One thing I should mention about the menial work piece is that everyone does a little bit of menial work as a part of their job. Like I make Xeroxes and make coffee occasionally, and those pieces, I think we all do parts of that. It just shouldn't be the entirety of what an intern does. It's also best practices to have frequent check-ins with the intern. That's often once a week or once every other week, to have time to meet with their supervisor to make sure that their expectations about their learning objectives are being met and your expectations about the work are being met. It's also a really good opportunity to provide them with feedback about what's going well and what they might have to work on. Sorry, my pictures here ended up a little bit skewed. But the next steps at UVM for finding internships are to post positions in our handshake system. UVM used to use a system called Catamount Job Link, which historically some of you may have posted in that system in the past. We have found it to be a little bit clunky and less user-friendly, and we will be migrating to a new system on July 1st. And some of you may have received emails about that migration. It's going to be a lot more user-friendly and easy to navigate. So you as employers can go in there and post positions, post jobs or internships for people to see and apply to. You can also go in there and schedule events and communicate directly with students. The handshake system, one of the handouts I gave you has the direct link to go in there and sign up. And when I did check the other day, I noticed that several state departments are already on Handshake. So it is easily accessible and easy to go in there and make an account. Other ways that are great to access UVM students are by building some brand awareness and having a consistent presence here on campus. excuse me. And in general, it's really good to help students understand what your department or division does, and so that you can really tell your story about what you do. And there are a few different ways to do that. Some employers really expand student knowledge about what they do through career fair attendance. So unfortunately, the picture is shrunk, but on the upper right, I have a picture of DNB, which is a bank that is located in Norway, who really got student attention and awareness by consistent presence on campus and had a lot of success at our job fair this past year. And it takes a little bit of momentum over time. So initially, when DNB started recruiting with us last year, they only had a few students show up to their info session. And then this year, when they came back after visiting some classrooms and really getting the word out, we ended up having a standing room only event. We had to turn some students away because we physically couldn't fit them in the room because we had such high interest in DNB. And so that's just an example of how you can kind of build that interest over time. Different ways where you might also help spread awareness about your department or division are serving as a panelist at different events. We have folks who guest write blog posts for us, and also people who make connections to specific colleges and programs. For instance, I know that the Agency of Natural Resources is well connected with the Rubenstein School of the Environment and Natural Resources, and in some cases there are really clear connections like that that might make sense, and I can also help introduce you to folks throughout campus who might be good contacts for you to help recruit within classrooms or to kind of establish that pipeline as well. So to get started, the main thing is to create an account on our Handshake platform. I would also be happy to talk with you and talk you through how that process works. We'll also be sending out our invitations to our annual fall career fair. Those invitations will go out in early July. And signups, it does fill up the career fair, so I would suggest registering as early as possible to make sure that you get a table if you are interested. In the past, we have had folks from connected or similar organizations who have shared a table, and so it may depend on what your agency or department wants to do, but there could be a state of Vermont table if that's something that you all were interested in, or we could group people up if you wanted to do that. So there are a lot of different options and ways to recruit on campus. At this point, Bill, I can probably turn it over to questions if folks have things specifically that they'd like to ask about.
Awesome, thank you, Amanda. Yeah, so if anybody does have any questions, please, like I said, put them in the question box and I'll relay them to Amanda. I had wanted to clarify one thing for the job fair in the fall, DHR will have a table there. So we will be there. So if any other agencies wanted to, I guess, join, because a lot of our job fairs, we have other agencies who kind of partner, man our, staff our own DHR table. So if anybody else is interested, just, reach out to myself, or if you want your own table, certainly do that and, talk to Amanda about that. So while we wait to see if anybody has any questions, I actually have one. So if you already had an account in the Catamount job link, do you automatically have one in Handshake, or do you have to go in and create a new one?
That's a good question. You do have to go in and create the account. For folks who did have an account in Catamount job link, you will have received an invitation through that system saying that we are doing that migration. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. So if you did already have an account in Catamount job link, one of the things you received is a direct link to go in and make an account that's automatically approved, so you don't have to wait for that to be approved by anyone in the Career Center, and you'll immediately be able to go in there and start posting positions. Yeah, I'm finding the system to be, quite honestly, a lot more user-friendly, and so so hopefully it'll be a lot easier to navigate than the old system, which could at times be a bit clunky.
Okay, well, good. Awesome. So we had another question. Somebody was asking about what the steps are to create a relationship with a program like A&R. this person is from IT and like to see how they could bridge with computer science or related programs. And I don't know if that's reaching out to you directly and having a conversation, or have me facilitate a conversation between the IT folks, but I don't know what your thoughts are, Amanda, on the best way to kind of start that ball rolling.
Yeah, that's a great question. So particularly for something like IT, there's some really good connections to be made with the computer science department. In the past, some folks, and this is a great example that other people could tap into in similar ways, where there are some organizations that have done targeted recruitment within the comp sci department, where they've come in. There's I can't remember the name of the student group, but there's a student coding group that meets on a weekly basis, and they've gone in there, and I think they've brought pizza in the past and just had a quick talk with them about, these are some career options within our organization, and this is what we're looking for in terms of interns. And it really helps to build that relationship with the student group. There are also faculty members, particularly within that department, who are open to having guests join their classrooms and give some quick information about, that might be about your own path and how you ended up in your role with the IT department at the state. And it can also be in the form of giving some advice to students and how to get experience and how to be a competitive applicant. I think really good opportunities for students are when they can also learn something from the experience. So by giving some added information about, here's some advice, or here's some tactics or strategies, can also be really valuable to them too. In terms of the concrete next steps, please do send me an email, and I'd be more than happy to help facilitate an introduction to the folks in that department.
Awesome. And so I will have Amanda's contact information at the end of this presentation, and I'll send the information to everybody who attended, so you can contact her directly, or if you would like me to go between, I'm happy to be facilitating conversations that people have. If you're busy and you need me to kind of organize any kind of calls or discussions, I'm more than happy to do that. So
thank you.
I don't have any other questions coming in, Amanda, but thank you so much for the information. It was great. Again, I will have your presentation sent out to everybody, so they may be contacting you directly. So thank you again. I really appreciate you coming online and giving your presentation. It was great.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, and I'm happy to talk with anybody who has any other questions later on.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So moving on, before we move into our next presentation, I want to do just another quick poll, get a pulse of people, their awareness of the process here. I know a lot of people have reached out to me, not sure about how you actually start the whole process of hiring an intern. I've got a lot of inquiries since this webinar series started, so just want to get an idea of how comfortable people are. I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and knows what they're supposed to do or what they need to do, what the rules are versus paid versus unpaid, and those types of things. So a couple seconds, and then we'll share. All right. So looks like about half and half are aware of the process, and the other half are not sure. Maybe the ones that are aware maybe are still aware that there is a process, but aren't sure exactly how to navigate it. So again, myself or anybody in recruitment services can help you navigate through. If you do have any questions on how to start the process, we're here to help. And now, so moving on, our next presentation will be with St. Michael's College, and Meg Seeley, the internship coordinator, is, I believe, on the line with us now. So Meg, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, Bill?
I can hear you just fine. Yep.
Okay, great.
So I am going to hand you over the controls.
Okay.
And you should be able to get that in a second. And then I will be quiet and let you talk.
Sounds good. All right. So I just clicked to share my screen with everybody. Will you let me know when you can see my screen or if you can see my screen?
You can see your screen. You're all good.
Okay, great. Thank you. So hi, everybody. My name is Meg Seeley. I'm the internship coordinator here at St. Michael's College in the Career Education and Alumni Engagement Center. That's a new office that we have just launched. So you guys are the first to know about this. Recently launched as of, let's see, the end of May, right after graduation. And my contact information is right there on the screen. As Bill mentioned, we'll send this PowerPoint out after, so you don't have to memorize that, but definitely reach out to me anytime after this with questions. I'm sitting here with Ingrid Peterson. She's our interim director of career education, and she's also our employer relations person here in our office. So she's here to answer any questions pertaining to employer relations. But as the internship coordinator, I'll do the bulk of this presentation today. So internships here at St. Michael's College, I'm just going to go through an overview of what we do for academic internships here at St. Mike's. I'm going to focus on the academic internships when students are getting credit, but also we do have students that do internships that are not for credit. So that's just an agreement between the student and the organization. The college doesn't have any oversight over that. So I'm just going to focus mainly on academic internships, but again, you might encounter a student who isn't looking to get credit. So one unique thing about St. Michael's College is that any student from any major here can do an internship for academic credit. And I'm just going to click on the majors and show you that part of the website. So if you're curious about which majors we even have here, you can go to the majors page on the St. Michael's College website and look through to see what population of students you might want to target based on the department that you work in. So you can see here we have a long list of majors, like many liberal arts colleges, ranging from the information systems and the computer to philosophy and physics, the sciences. So there's a very broad range, and many students from all majors do internships. So if you're thinking, just something to think about as you're recruiting. As you drill down, you can go and drill down on the site to each major, and you can get a little bit more information about it, including the curriculum. So if you are planning out an internship and thinking about targeting specific majors, you might take a look at the curriculum and see what courses the students are taking and at which level they're taking those courses as you think about what your target population would be. Are you targeting, sophomores or juniors and seniors for the particular work that you're looking to get their help with? So I think the website's a great starting place as you're looking at creating an internship opportunity and targeting specific majors. Another thing to mention too is that in some of the majors, internships are required, and in other majors, they're highly encouraged. So for example, business and accounting, psychology, environmental studies, those are examples of majors where all students do an internship. It's part of their graduation requirement. MJD, which is our media studies and digital arts, those students are required. And then in other majors, it's highly supported and highly recommended, like political science, history, sociology, anthropology. Many of those students do internships. So we work really closely here in our department with the faculty members from each major to help their students get connected with the types of internships that might be appropriate. So I wanted to show that. So internships typically run the duration of a semester, and we have fall, spring, and summer internships, internship courses. So students can get credit in either of those semesters. And then some students would take on a year-long internship. So if you have a project that might be more a year-long project and you think it would be a great student internship, then we can help you line up a student who's looking to do a year-long internship. And typically I think of majors like psychology or education, where a department where the work might span the academic year. Certainly in education, they like to have the students there, especially if it's in a classroom setting. They want the commitment of the entire academic year just for that consistency with the population that they're working with. So we can help you design that. Students can do either 2 credits or 4 credit internships, and the main difference is the number of hours. So a 2 credit internship would look like about 5 hours a week during the academic semester, and the 4 credit internship would be more like 10 hours a week. So they have to do that total number of 65 hours or 130 hours during the semester in order to get those academic credits. So part of the process when a student is getting credit for an internship here at St. Mike's, they have to line up an internship site and have a dedicated site supervisor, dedicated or designated, whatever word you want to choose, but somebody at the site who's going to sign the site supervisor form and agree to work individually with that student and support them. Understanding that many students have multiple site supervisors at an internship site and multiple people that they might report to or get work from, but one person has to kind of be that point person for the college and sign that form for the student. And they will also have a faculty supervisor here at the college that they're working with who will also oversee and evaluate their work. And so the site supervisor would be overseeing the work at the internship site, the on-site work, and then the faculty supervisor would be giving the student some supplemental academic coursework, so maybe readings, reading a particular book or a series of articles that might pertain to the work they're doing at their internship site. They might be conducting some research and then doing some reflective coursework or writing a research paper that brings in the work they're doing at their internship site. For the faculty member. So, it's really a 3-way partnership. That's how we describe it, between the student, the internship site, and that faculty supervisor. And all contact information is exchanged so people can get in touch with whomever they need throughout the course of the duration of the internship. So that's the gist. I'm just going to open up the site supervisor agreement form. I am so sorry. It's not opening. That's okay. I have it listed on the next slide, so I'll click on it there. And just so you can just quickly glance at the requirements for site supervision. We also have a faculty supervisor form as well, and the student signs a student agreement form. I apologize if you can hear the jets going by in the background. We are right near the military base here in Colchester, so on occasion there's the jets, and of course they have to be flying by right during this webinar. So I'm sorry if that's a distraction at all.
Okay.
Another thing to touch on is, and I think that Amanda did touch on this as well, and you might be familiar with the NACE definition of an internship. So the National Association of Colleges and Employers has put forth a formal definition of what an internship entails. And there's a link here. I won't click on it, but you guys will have this PowerPoint if you want to click right to that link and just, review your internship description and your posting to make sure that it's in keeping with the NACE standards. And as Amanda mentioned before, just those rules, like you can't displace what would be a regular employee with an intern, a student intern, and there's some other guidelines such as that on the list. So familiarize yourself with that if you are recruiting. That's helpful. And then I already touched on many students do a non-academic internship. So in that case, you would still refer to the NACE guidelines so that it's the experience is in keeping with what a true internship is and how that's defined. But we wouldn't have the involvement of a faculty supervisor, and there wouldn't be a required number of hours or level of supervision. So it would essentially just be an agreement between the student and the internship site, or in this case, the department. So paid versus unpaid, you know, I look back at our data. We do collect when a student is doing an internship, we ask them if it's paid or unpaid, and it's about 60%, 40% paid versus unpaid. And really the decision is up to the employer. And again, NACE puts forth guidelines about when internship payment should be required, and it has to do with the Department of Labor guidelines. So they pull from that to define their internship guidelines. So I would refer back to the employer and you know, seek legal consult if there's any questions about whether or not that particular internship experience should be paid based on what you're asking the student to do. One little note, because we have internships here at St. Mike's, and you know, some of them are paid and some of them are not paid, and one kind of key thing that I talk with supervisors about is that, you know, you can't have an unpaid intern doing the same body of work that you're hiring a paid student employee to do. So really looking at those projects that you're asking the intern to do, and make sure that there's not a student sitting alongside them getting paid to do that same work. So that's where kind of like the wish list, you know, think about projects that you wish you had time to do, but it's just not feasible. You know, you're not going to hire for a position for that particular project. Those are great things for a student intern to take on and take that ownership on and get some experience. So that's the general overview of academic internships. And again, there's links embedded here. So the site supervisor responsibilities, I'll just go down this list pretty quickly, and if this link to the supervisor agreement form doesn't open, I will scroll on my computer and open it. Nope, it's not. So up front, if the student is getting academic credit for the internship experience, then they would be signing a site supervisor agreement form. Pardon me while I just quickly scroll to that form. And open it for you. So this is the site supervisor agreement form that the person who's going to oversee the student's work would need to sign up front if a student is getting credit. And it just goes over the basics, you know, developing a work plan with the student that outlines what the work assignments are going to be. So, you know, having those expectations up front. Ensuring that the student will be getting challenging work throughout the semester and not just doing those kind of tedious menial tasks. As Amanda mentioned, there's always part of that in every job. I do photocopying, I do all kinds of stuff, but that can't be the bulk of the work that the student is doing. They've got to be challenged and pushed. Communication between the site supervisor and faculty supervisor is important. We put when needed in the contract. So, you know, just feel they're a resource for you. You can reach out anytime. Certainly if there's any issues or problems, you should reach out to the faculty supervisor. And likewise, if they reach out to you to inquire about how things are going, you just want to be in a place where you can respond to the faculty supervisor to check in about the student's progress if they inquire, because sometimes the faculty like to do at least a midpoint check-in to make sure that things are going well for everybody in the middle of the, you know, by the midpoint of the semester. And then finally, evaluate the student intern by completing the final evaluation form. We have a formal process for the final evaluations. It's a standard evaluation form that all internship site supervisors complete, and then they get that information back to the faculty, and the faculty use that information to enter a final grade for the student. So students are graded on their internship performance. So your feedback is just very important and essential. Faculty weight the feedback from the site in different ways, but typically it's about 60% of the student's grade is their performance at their internship site and the feedback that they get from you as a supervisor, and then 40% would be that academic coursework that they complete for the faculty member. So it's, you know, very important to get that feedback. And then also on the final evaluation form, there's just a yes/no question about did the student complete the required number of hours, and it tells the number of hours. So there should be some sort of timekeeping mechanism, some sort of way where the intern's time is being tracked. And we ask that students track their own time, but certainly their supervisor should be aware of, are they reaching their hours, how close they are, and so having some sort of record keeping in terms of the hours fulfilled on the supervisor's end is very helpful too, especially when it comes down to that final review period. So back to the PowerPoint. So the supervisor, just again in general, so you'll help students develop some learning goals for the internship. That's always helpful. Help them get acquainted with your organization, so the state of Vermont, your office culture, certainly your specific department, the nature of the work. You want to set clear expectations and boundaries for the work up front. That helps eliminate questions or issues down the road. So, a lot of these are pretty typical supervisory functions that you would do with any employee, but I think it's particularly important for a student intern because oftentimes this is their very first professional experience that they're having. So it can set the tone for them for the rest of their career. This is their first exposure to a real professional, whether it be an office setting or a field setting, but what does it mean to work out in the world and not be in a classroom all day? So it's really important that not only are you orienting them to just your office and your department, but the bigger organization and the nature of the world of work in general. And then, oversee their work, obviously train them, explain projects and guidelines, give feedback, and then allow students to ask questions and be available to them whenever possible or appropriate. As a student intern, some feedback I get from students, especially towards the beginning, is, it's hard to ask questions. They want to be competent and capable, and so sometimes it takes a little bit of courage for them to even ask the question. So just reinforcing that this is a learning environment and you understand that they're learning, and being open to them asking questions. Of course, there's times when people get busy and they don't have time for questions, but just, in general, being willing to be a point person for them to come to when questions come up along the way. And then when giving them projects too, not just giving them tasks and projects to do, but maybe going a little deeper with them and explaining why you're doing that and the purpose and the value that it adds to the greater organization can be helpful, just so they have that perspective on the work that they're doing at the internship. Because it might be a task, it might be task oriented or, kind of menial, enter these 20, items into the spreadsheet, but like, what is that? What's the purpose for that? How does it fit into the work that your department's doing can be helpful for them to know, because they're just coming into this and they're new and they might not have that institutional knowledge that you have, or other employees who have been there longer. And you guys can read through the list. So just making the best use of the students' time and talents, giving them challenging projects, and being a mentor to them. Sometimes, one of the benefits I think students look for in an internship or hope for maybe as an outcome is that they'll walk away with a great reference. So afterwards, whether it be a letter of recommendation for graduate school or a reference that they can put down when they're applying for full-time jobs. So, establishing that relationship so that you can be a reference for them. You can really speak to what their strengths are, what their skills are. So kind of really getting to know them, I think is important, not required, but important. And and that speaks to also, giving them feedback and just having that open communication with them. And then I did mention, click back, the final evaluation. So if you do end up hiring a student intern. At the end, there would be a final evaluation due of them, and I did email it out to Bill in advance, so I'll have, when the time comes, you'll get that. If people are curious afterwards, I'm happy to scroll to the document and open it up for you. It's pretty standard. So I just wanted to take a minute and just show a quick video. This is an example of a successful internship partnership. It's a pretty short video, so I'll just click play, and it gives you really like the student's perspective on the internship and then the employer's perspective on the internship.
My name is Trevor Brown. I'm a junior political science and history double major, econ minor, originally from West Brookfield, Massachusetts. As important as the class starts you take in college, moving beyond the classroom, that experience, that hands-on experience that you can get in an internship is even more valuable in my opinion. My internship for this semester is in the State's Attorney's Office with TJ Donovan, who is the State's Attorney for Chittenden County. As an intern, I've had the opportunity to do a variety of different tasks. Everything from filing and clerical work to working with attorneys hands-on in the courtroom and really seeing the criminal justice process in action. At the beginning of this semester, when I was thinking about doing an internship, I went to the staff of the Career Development Office. I'd always been interested in policymaking and government, and they worked with me to find a site and a location that really suited my interests. As a St. Michael's student, I really think you have a unique advantage entering into an internship. A liberal arts education gets you ready not just for one specific job, but for really whatever career field you want to enter. So far, it's been a great experience, and the support that I've gotten from both the faculty and staff here at St. Michael's, specifically career development, has been second to none. I've learned invaluable skills, and I really feel much more secure in what I want to pursue after graduation because of this internship.
It's been a great experience with St. Mike students, and I think the skill set that we look for that is needed in today's economy, which is the changing economy, is this. Are you a self-starter? Will you take the initiative? Do you have the ability to communicate, to articulate your side of the argument, and to work with people in a positive way from all different aspects of life, whether it's the poor, whether it's the marginalized, whether it's the lawyer? You are exposed to everybody in this system. This is a microcosm of the community in this courthouse. This is about solving problems. We want self-starters. We want people who take the initiative and can figure out how to get to yes and solve a problem. I know St. Mike students have those skills. That's why we like working with them.
So that was just a little plug for, St. Mike students. Had to play that. But I think both Trevor and TJ Donovan do really illustrate the power of an internship and the impact it can have on both the student and the organization. It's really, it should be a win-win for everybody involved in the situation, in the partnership. So next I'm going to go on to roles, internship roles and projects. These are just some of the things that our students do for their internships. And of course, the world of work is always changing and new fields are emerging. So in 2 years, this might look a little different, but we've got business and accounting, communications, writing and marketing, the PR and digital media, research of all kinds. I think one area that we'd love to expand is in like the scientific research. We have biology and chemistry and biochem and physics students, environmental science students that are really interested in gaining experience in research. And I don't know, they do a lot of on-campus research, but out in the community, I think we might be lacking a little bit there. So if you do have a research project in mind, I think a student would be ideal for that. Again, and that's not just limited to the sciences. There's the social science research and legal research or other kinds of research. We've got the whole IT the department here is students studying computer science, information technology, and going out and doing internships in those areas. Certainly education and training. Our education students, they do student teaching in their fourth year. But before that, they're often looking to gain some experience out in the field, and it doesn't just need to be classroom education. It can be, teaching or doing workshops or any kind of education. So education/training. And then we have our social work, psychology, any work with clients or in the human services that appeals to a variety of majors here. And due to the, the mission of St. Mike's, we have a very strong tradition of social justice here. It's very important to a lot of our students. And so any kind of work you might have that touches on social justice, human rights, advocacy, food systems or healthcare accessibility, things like that would definitely be appealing to students here at St. Mike's. And then of course we have like the hospitality, events, travel and leisure that could fit well for some state of Vermont departments, I thought. And then we have, human resources, environmental, field work, and then really just any project-based work, I think lends itself well to a student intern. Again, they can accomplish things for your department that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do, and it gives them some ownership. And oftentimes there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, which could match up well with the cycle of an internship through a semester. So these are some things to think about. And unfortunately, we don't have many engineering students that do internships here because we do have the 3+1 partnership with UVM. So our students actually go on to UVM to get their master's. So they usually do internships after they leave St. Mike's. So certainly it's great. We want to know about those internship opportunities and we will glad to advertise them. But our students, I'm not saying you wouldn't be able to recruit an engineering intern from St. Mike's. They're here, but they do typically do them by the, in their third year over at UVM. So let's see, I just wanted to quickly mention areas where we have partnered with the state of Vermont. So Department of Labor, we have economics students there doing internships just about every summer. DCF in St. Albans works with our psychology students. We have year-long practicums for psychology, and we always have students working for DCF in St. Albans. Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department has taken on business students to help with their business side of things. We always have students in the Chief Medical Examiner's office up at UVM, our pre-health bio students. And state of Vermont Department of Public Safety, we've had psychology interns there for a couple years. And then the governor's office, I know they're not directly like a state of Vermont office, but we have students who have interns. We have a student intern there this summer, and it's definitely an ongoing internship site. So these are just a few of the departments we've already worked with, but definitely welcome more, to contact us. Our internship recruiting timeline. So as I mentioned, we have fall, spring, and summer internship periods here at St. Mike's. And so the recruiting really happens in the couple months leading up to the internship start date. So if you're looking for somebody in the fall, you might think about getting that description written up now and getting it posted. And so you could be recruiting throughout the summer, posting it, screening people, interviewing, and hiring them for about a September 1st start date. And then our semester wraps up mid-December. And one thing to mention too about that, so the employer manages the recruiting process, the screening, the interviewing, all of that. We advertise opportunities. We work very closely with faculty to get the word out to students. And we do help employers kind of develop internships when it comes to writing the description and how they describe the opportunity. But the employers, we leave it to them to do the screening process and interviewing process. So back to the timeline. So if you're looking to recruit a spring intern, then you would be going through that recruitment process October, November, December for a January start date. A lot of our students come back from winter break early to mid-January, so that's when they would likely start. And then for the summer, you could start recruiting anytime, beginning, in February through April to line up your summer interns. And they usually run anytime after the semester ends. So I put mid-May and then run through middle to the end of August. We do have a lot of students from out of state. But they love to stay in Vermont for the summer and find an internship. It gives them a great reason to stick around. And any students who are doing internships, they can live on campus in the summer, so they have access to housing, which is really helpful. So in terms of advertising your internship, there's 2 easy ways to post. You know, UVM has Handshake, as Amanda mentioned. We have a different but similar system here. We have SMC job link. So the link is right here. So you can just log on and create an employer account and post your internships yourself, you know, and then update them or close them out when they're filled. Or you can email your Word document or your internship description in whatever format to careerdevelopment@smcvt.edu, and we'll go ahead and get it posted for you. I didn't mention in this slide that the on-campus recruiting. So we do events throughout the year where we have employer panels, and we usually send out invitations. So if you're interested in being on a panel, we do them kind of targeted towards specific majors here. So an example might be like careers in the environment or careers in human services, things like that. So we do those throughout the year. So if you're interested, let me know and we'll keep you in the loop about upcoming panels that might be relevant for you and your department. We have in the past done traditional job fair events, and that might be something we'll bring back in the future. Right now, we are not doing a fall job fair, but again, employers are always welcome to come and recruit on campus. We have a recruiting area set up outside of our dining hall, and we often have employers set up, you know, tables there either during the lunch hour, the lunch rush, or the dinner hour. Some of them decide to put together an info session afterwards in the evening. So whatever way that, you know, whatever fits into your recruiting style, we can accommodate. And of course, again, the important part would be getting us your descriptions so we can get the word out to students and faculty about the opportunity. And then lastly, you know, you can reach out to anyone in our office anytime just to ask questions or you know, set up a recruiting visit, or if you need help developing your internship. And these are the different ways, you know, you can reach out to us: phone, email, visit the employer site, the SMC job link employers page to get your opportunities posted, or set up a time to come in and sit down and meet with us about, you know, not just internships, but internships, summer jobs, temporary work, full-time jobs, of course, for our graduates. We're available and we're here for you as a resource. So at this time, I don't know if people have questions. Again, I'm here, and so is Ingrid Peterson. She's our employer relations person in our office and our interim director. And she really focuses on more full-time employment opportunities. So we're happy to answer questions about that as well, since we're both here on the call.
Awesome. Thank you, Meg. I appreciate it. So we have like about a minute or so left. And I just wanted to point out, if anybody has questions, please do ask them now. Put them in the question box. We do have one question I'll get to in a second. But if you do have any more, please do ask them now. And if we don't have time before the end of this, I'll relay them over to you, Megan, and to Ingrid, so that you can answer them offline. But
sounds great.
All the handouts that you had tried to link to, we do have. If you look in the handouts section of the GoToWebinar control panel, you'll see 5 handouts. One of them is from Amanda's presentation, and one of them is just kind of a reminder about our upcoming webinar and our archived webinars. But the other ones are about some of those documents that Meg was trying to reference, the faculty supervisor agreement. So they are there on the handouts. So we do have them, and I can send them to anybody after the webinar has ended. So not to worry, we will be able to get those things to you. So with that said, I did have there was one question about, do you have any suggestions or recommendations on like the cadence as to, during an internship, how often the site supervisor should be checking in with the intern to kind of give feedback, or is it something that you feel can be done just at the end of the internship or on an ad hoc basis?
Yeah, I would recommend checking in weekly with the student intern, just in terms of like, how's everything going? Are you feeling challenged? Just at least a brief 5-minute check-in conversation that might not have anything specific to do with the work that they're doing, but just more of a general check-in, see if they have any questions, stuff like that. I would recommend setting a weekly, check-in meeting, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes. And then at the end, I think a midway review is really helpful. That way, if there's anything that needs addressing that's, more formal, they could do that in the midterm review or about midway through, and so that gives the student intern some time to change behavior or fix things or whatever the recommendations are for them. And then certainly the final review would be a great opportunity to close things up with them, and maybe more of a longer meeting, like an hour or 45 minutes to really debrief the whole experience for both of them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it looks like we're out of time now, but here's the contact information for everybody. Thank you to Amanda from UVM, and thank you, Meg. If there is any other questions that come up for either of you, I will certainly relay those to you. And then just a reminder, I will be sending everybody the copy of both Meg and Amanda's presentations, and so you will have that for referring to whenever you need to, and if you need to contact either of them directly, please do. If you need my assistance, please do. And then we'll go from there. So thank you both. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and have a great day.
Great. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.